Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Hello and welcome to this buildingSMART room session as part of the buildingSMART International Standards Summit Rome 2023. Thank you for those of you joining us here in the room and those of you joining us online. My name is Jeffrey Ouellette and I will be your moderator today. Today's session is titled Use Cases of IFC SpacialZone for Materials and Material Support. This session is scheduled to last 90 minutes. Hopefully we'll have some time at the end for questions. The session is being recorded and will be made available in the replay section of the event as soon as possible. Before I hand it over to our speakers, I would like to remind you that this is a hybrid event. For online attendees, your microphones will be muted, but if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat box in the control panel. For those in the room, please try to minimize the background noise. We do have mobile microphones, so if you have any questions, just raise your hand and we'll bring the microphones to you. We'd also like to bring to your attention that buildingSMART is committed to ensuring that participation in the development of standards is unrestricted and the process for their adoption is transparent, and standards that are developed do not favor any particular provider, are open, non-binding, and accessible to all. Please take note of our antitrust code of conduct, which you can find following this QR code, but you can also find it on the buildingSMART website. Now with that, I am going to turn it over to Dachi-san. Here we go. Okay.
Can I start? Okay. I'm Yoshinaba Dachi. I am a member of IFC SpacialZone project, and we had final presentations of SpacialZone in buildingSMART room 2 in this morning. So this presentation is a part of a SpacialZone project. So that's why I'm now trying to introduce the next speaker, Mr. Yachi. Mr. Yachi is the leader or chairperson of Building Service Committee and Environment in Japan chapter. And Mr. Yachi is also a member of SpacialZone project. And he has been leading the Japanese building spatial zone teams to facilitate the software implementations of spatial zone at this moment. And he's now trying to show and share the latest use cases and the sample IFC SpacialZone software implementation. So Yachi-san, please.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Yachi. I'm happy to be able to talk about such a nice place. I'm a member of the MEP and Environment Committee in Japan. It was announced at the meeting held just before that the special zone has been authorized. Mr. Gianluca, now, yeah. Gianluca, thank you, everyone who is working with us. Yes. Member of Japan MEP committees, everyone has put information together in the use case document. Today's story will tell you what I'm thinking when I use it all the time. For example, when planning at the construction work site, and Ken and I are very good friends in Japan. It's the first time I call you, Ken. Sorry. I'm just a user of Beam. Environment surrounding Beam is changing. I think there's also a way of saying that involved by using it. I participate in the building room meeting every month, and I propose many use cases from the stand of the user. A BIM environment evolves. One proposal is defined, standardized and documented. What the member here, we're doing what I just say, isn't it? Yes, yes. Next slide, okay. I'm a BIM manager on many projects. It's been about 20 years since we used BIM. Before my explanation, I would like to say a few words about the goal. BSI activities are, I think, one of the many goals. Creating the specification for the BIM service is presented by IFC, and the realization stages that are useful for works. Okay. Next. And at the conference held in Tokyo a few years ago, a discussion of the special zone was published. Do you remember? Does anyone who participate? Yeah, thank you. My job is air conditioning for construction under construction companies. My job is air condition. I want to calculate. I would calculate heat load calculation and airflow optimize. It was being said that is very important to control the airflow. The video you watching is now is explaining something completely difficult. Well, never mind. So I feel the special zone is very effective. I realize the space reservation is important for the efficient for work at the construction site. This is there is a consortium in Japan called the Construction RX Consortium. Ken and I attend the construction site. I think space reservation is very important in the site. Reservation, one keyword is reservation. The friend of mine has a reservation the day after yesterday. I eat carbonara restaurant. You get 20% off discount when you reservation booking. Without reservation, no discount. Okay, that's why reservation is very important. So, materials cannot be transferred due to obstruct. This video, machine moves smoothly. Yeah. It will be very important if there is a space reservation in the communication between the construction company and the MEP company. Yeah. All the member at the thing like this, use the special reservation IFC 4 is very good. Yes, I'm thinking. Do you think your works will be very efficient? Maybe. Sorry. Oh, I must say, there should be no waste material. Do you know just in time? Just in time. It's necessary to have, it's important to ensure the necessary materials can be installed where they are needed in time. Even if I suddenly said that, you hardly imagine, maybe, including temporary placement, the space zone has big effect. This meeting theme is passport, material passport. I would want to know that the special zone of MEP construction works effectively. A special zone defined what in space, what is there in the space. The materials I plan to use from now on the place, on the floor, but now they are going to install in the ceiling. Temporary is very important, but another thing, equipment material is often installing the ceiling. Another example, there is air in the space. It's air, okay? There is lighting energy in the space. There's a lot of work to do done in the space. In the goal of the conference, material passport is to, I think there is an effective use of energy. From here, I really want to do the best. I want to do the best here. I really want to explain. Understand? If we can use a concept of the special zone, I can be related to the fact that can be also used for the energy management. Yes. I will show you. Oh, so sorry. I'll show you some picture. I just explain a little. That use case is so many. Member of the I made use case. I explain you my presentation. In the Tokyo Summit, though, first time, Japanese member are saying that. Now, I will explain the purpose of the use case of the special zone is so that you can imagine who use it and what is the use for. Purpose is purpose is it's a story, I think. What are you thinking? What do you use for? Useful? What kind of tool would you like to be developed? I'm going to talk about combine them. Maybe. It has not yet been implemented as a tool before. But data can be created. I think we can talk. In those days, about 5 years ago, there's no tool implementing IFC 4, but the Japanese vendor start implementing. I think it's implementing because it's useful. I take a lot of development. It takes a lot of development cost for the BIM vendor implemented it. Even everyone wants to spend money on the development. if there is a use case, everyone think it's good. Yes. Hi. Sorry. Sure. Hi. The start of the special zone. Thermal. First theme is thermal ventilation. I am a air conditioning expert. I will explain the use of the special zone in the air conditioning system. I would like to explain that the special air conditions are required. Yes. What's the special air condition? You understand? Can you imagine special air condition? A zone that's air condition spot. They want air condition only a special area. Calculate only the part calculation. To probe the cooling and cooling air condition system according to the heat load, use a special zone is to optimize this air balance, this balance. Yeah. Yes. I don't. I explain, but everyone not understand just words. I show you some picture and talk as much as possible. Sometimes I'm in time. It is necessary to partially air. You understand partially spot. To partially air conditioning is a particular space in the same room, but there is a request that I want air conditioning on the one place. I just want to please imagine. Well, I wish I could show you the picture in real factory. There is a printing factory that's printing newspaper. Printing press is generates a lot of heat. Printing machine generates a lot of heat. So when the printing paper in the temperature and the humidity is required for the ink for different. So every thought, it's some room. It is the same room. There are situation. There will be a control air in this space. While partially space is here, another space is here. We managed to air condition separately. Like this, okay. Hi. Okay, yes, as a matter of fact, many factory, such as automobile factory, use same spot cooling. Yes. I'll look at a video. First, we use the authoring tool, creating by model. We put the air heat load in the beam model. Install how much heat is generated as a beam data. I export to the special zone IFC 4. First, let's take me out. After that, look at the viewer. So, for this communication between the designer and implementer, like MEP engineer, is very efficient, like this communication. I'll just stop the video. We move the viewer. Yes. Wait. This is my jobs 10 years ago. In those days, there's no IFC 4. At that time, 10 years ago, we know IFC 4. It's only the space management only. Configure the data of the special zone. Finally, create the specification necessary for the heat calculation in the special zone. The data can be entered into the heat load calculation software. Special zone, yes, it is connected to the calculation how much heat load there is installed. Only the space defines the special zone. Yes. Okay. あれ動画ストップしたのか。止まってた。これ今もう止まってた。OK。それ。Define the space, and this space was special. At the Material Passport Conference, we are introduced the fact that calculation requires the space can be performed the efficient means that, my words, don't use unnecessary materials that do not generate necessary heat. Do not generate waste materials. Yes. For second type, I want to explain you the focus on the transport. You imagine there's a huge air condition. My business installed the air condition system on the side. We must move. If the concrete wall was closed, the air condition is not moved. Oh, sorry. Sorry. My timing was so bad. Concept of space reservation used the reservation necessary space during the construction. Special reservation in the special reservation is concept. During the construction, I want reservation, not only carbonara. In the construction side, it's important to carry what's made in the factory, in the site. In the site, we must move. So we use the space. That's a special zone. This material is in the from the technical report. My next explanation is piping. I change section piping. I'm a MEP engineer. I'm not install pipe. Only one piece. A pipe is round and long. I installed the unit like this. Yes, just sure. Can you imagine a little bit looking at the picture? As much as possible, we plan to carry the pipe as a unit, install carrying them on the site spot. I use special zone. Space is very important. At unit construction method, there's many factors that contribute the success of the unit. We use Reca. We need the hole for the pipe and install the go through. Imagine once again, space. We need one piece of pipe. Space unit pipe is different. I use special zone. There's a factor that change from the one pipe and the special unit pipe. Like weight, you temporary support for the lift. The working space required for this unit different from the of the single pipe. Yes. So single pipe. At this time, it is very important to secure the space as space reservation. From where to where will be a transport to height, to weight on the steel frame change depend on the where it is fixed. At the real construction site, we use a Reca like this. You once again, you imagine if there is an obstruction when the piping through, it will be problem maybe. I use special reservation as a special zone to relieve this obstruct. Yes. Yes, could you watch the video once again? My experience is like this. We reserve this area is a piping space area, and this using the Oseng tool export the IFC. Construction company leaves the IFC zone here. There is no obstruction, because we are going to install them. Yeah. This communication is very useful, I think. Yes. Don't you think there's a story, space reservation? It's a story, maybe. There's a story, a lot of story is making. I explained one example. Japanese vendor, Japanese vendor installed special zone data like this. You can see the red zone is a special zone. It's communication from the construction member to the accumulator. So, ちょっとね、飛ばします。Time was limited. ちょっと待って。失敗。I want to explain at two more, but jumped. Another story. Could you please explain one? It's a loan, and it's not exactly construction image of the special zone, but staging system. Do you know this? Do you know the Sant'Angelo? Anyone? No. No. There? Oh, so. Sant'Angelo is a famous story. The heroine, actor, jumped out. I want to save the heroine. Yes, like this. We installed the Sant'Angelo special zone for the actor. I want to save the actor. If the actor jumped out this area, no obstruction. And the floor of this special zone there is a cushion installed. They jumped and no one injured. So, yeah, it's a sound. It's the end of my presentation. You imagine, let's visit Sant'Angelo and sing this like this scene. 音出るかな? あ、音だ. It's a Tosca, last of the drama. Heroine jump up to the Sant'Angelo. I want to use special zone like this, stage design. Yeah. all of the theater, same thing. Yes. Ah. Her not injured because we installed a cushion or something. Yeah. Yeah. Time was limited. Last word. Sorry. これ言いたかったけどやめとこう。あと2 minutes, please. I really explained one word. You can see this video. Those video made from Hidetaka. Hidetaka is one of the biggest CAD vendor in Japan for MEP. They try to implement an IFC special zone. It is very big news, maybe. I think. 動いてなかったか。はいはい。So, すごい。My time is 30 minutes. Maybe it's just over time. Well, I tell the story. A few story. I'm sure I'm a user. I'm already talking about thinking like this. I want to use special zone. If you imagine, IFC is so efficient. Maybe some member created many another IFC use case. So, よしということで、sorry. I'm sorry for the one-side story. My presentation, my one-side story. I'm very sorry, but I will take my time and answer your questions slowly. Hi. Well, please understand there are many cases where I can answer immediately on the spot. Yes. My last word. Please watch the Tosca movie, maybe. Please visit Sant'Angelo. This is my presentation. Thank you.
Okay, Rory, are you ready to present?
Yes. Okay, cool. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Fantastic presentation on the spatial zones. I like the little San Angelo movie clip. A very nice piece. I don't have anything so cool in my presentation. But I'm from the Rory Doak, from the Construction Room Steering Committee here. Been doing a bit of work recently. And I'm a digital project manager with Stora Enso. Background as a structural engineer, DFMA technician, and sort of modular mass timber construction. And now taking more on the project management side. And today, the topic will focus a lot on the material passports around quantity, sustainability information, which I do a lot of. I thought this first picture was quite good because part of my job is looking at how you connect the tree to the wooden products that you make for construction. It's quite a lovely first image there. But the topic of today was material passports in combination with quantity, location, and sustainability data. So really tying in actually with the spatial zones was a really interesting way to start it off, especially when looking at the location side of things. I think it was a fantastic piece of work. And we'll really start to focus on an activity proposal that we're creating in the steering room. It's a great opportunity to show our thinking, our way forward, as we feel it's probably a topic a lot of people are looking at, different rooms, different places, and from different perspectives. So it's really good to sort of come out to the community and talk and work through it. So we really explain the key opportunities we see in that sort of construction room, what we're sort of, how we would word those opportunities, how we might push them forward and excel, and walk through possible thinking and approach with a really brief sort of high level explanation of maybe the Stora Enso perspective on it as a manufacturer there, sort of a manufacturer of sort of adding sort of pre-manufactured value to mass timber components. It's quite interesting to have our perspective in there. And also the thinking approach will be added on by Veljko as well, with some of the sort of joined up work with the activity proposal there around the sort of 4D, 5D work. So I do a little bit of mapping the connections to other work that we see that's going on. Initially, the sort of connections that we mainly see are sort of European based, but really want to try to expand that thinking out to map the other connections around the world as well. It's a topic everyone's talking about internationally, so we should have joined up thinking as a community there. But the activity proposal itself that we're sort of drawing up and sort of debating and discussing with the steering committee is really looking at how the material passports can be leveraged in a way that allowed sort of harmonized exchange of quantity, location, and sustainability data. We're really looking at what's the sort of buildingSMART open standard role in the sort of material passport concept. How do we apply the sort of BSDD? How do we apply the IFC format? How do use case management come into it? How do all these things sort of leverage and give the platform to deliver this information in the right way to the industry? So they're linking directly in with the use case management, developing and looking at different workflows and opportunities that we have, harmonizing data exchange with sort of structured and consistent sort of naming and units, and also sustainability data, and ensuring that's able to be exchanged with unique objects throughout the life of the building, and as the data of a project, especially a building project, develops and gets augmented with time. So the data when you're at a concept design phase is very different to the data that you might sort of have and produce detailed design, construction, and also deconstruction. So how does that sort of manifest itself into our workflow? So that opportunity, maybe linking into that, is sort of maybe there's a lack of a harmonized exchange format. So a real lack in the industry. Everyone's sort of doing it, and there's lots of really great tools in the market for, especially if we're looking at sustainability data, about exchanging that, creating sort of life cycle assessments, working with EPD, so environmental product declarations, and sort of passing them through in between different actors, but everyone seems to be slightly changing it or doing it a slightly different way, especially if you look at the management of maybe the unique identification of objects through from authoring tools to IFCs to databases, what may it be. Everyone's doing it a different way. So we can see, especially from what I'm looking at, maybe coming from the timber side, a lot of work happening on harmonizing sustainability data, making that sort of crisp, clear, and able to be exchanged, and also the calculation methods. And the calculation methods also referring to products as well as buildings. So people being able to assess the systems, maybe like a wall system going into the buildings, and have that sort of multiplied out into the building scale. So we see that work going on, but the opportunity that we see is that missing piece around the method for delivery and exchanging. And that's probably where we excel in sort of the buildingSMART community, in sort of, especially around open BIM workflows that we have. So although people might be passing around green information, might be different forms of green in different ways, different shades, tones, whatever it may be. So it creates an issue when you're trying to use that sort of model that you create, and the data you create is that single source of truth. You want to create it all in sort of an exchangeable, understandable way. So we're thinking an approach on this. Really want to engage with the use case management tool that we have, and also any other activities that are happening around buildingSMART, so we can ensure that we're working on this in a holistic way. We're this construction room, so we really leverage also people from possibly the product room, the building room, airport, rail, whatever it may be as well, to provide the sort of holistic perspective on this. And with us, we're finding the synergies within our own activity proposals that we're making. So saying that the exchange of, let's say, bill of quantity information being sort of directly related to, let's say, life cycle assessment data as well. So if you're able to uniquely identify an object through sort of the life of the project and thereafter, export that quantity data, then that data should be applicable across creating bill of quantities and costings, as well as calculating the footprint of the building. May that be operational, embodied, whatever it may be. So that's the sort of thinking and approach that we have. We want to bring in people together to add to this sort of vision and find the connections and synergies with other activities currently happening. And coming maybe from the Stora Enso mass timber context that we have, we generally work with sort of a manufacturing IFC, which we create in the ordering process. So naturally, if you're ordering something like CLT, you'll get an IFC back of what's going to be made. An IFC is of your building, so you can use that there. So you have the manufacturing data tied in to IFC to help you with any sort of shop drawings, site drawings, or any as-built packages that you want to deliver. So also deliver the sort of gross quantities, which can be used for pricing, as well as the same quantities for like an LCA calculation. Because with pre-manufactured products, you're paying for the waste as much as you're paying for the product itself, which might be different to other products. But ultimately, we understand our position in the supply chain, so it's ensuring that we were there for quite a small part. We come in, we deliver just in time, we leave, sort of thing. So how do we ensure that manufacturing data is used and fed in, let's say, to the wider project data and building data that's being developed? And how do we ensure that's enabling quick decision making earlier on as well as later on? So it's always interesting that you get the data you need when it's the hardest time to make changes. So being able to feed in more data earlier on is also quite beneficial. And the ways of doing that might not be fully sort of fleshed out at the moment. So in a sort of really like a simple diagram that I made. So I took the context of like what was a wall, and if we're going from like left to right, really looking at how that wall is developed and more data is added on and the level of detail increases, becomes a lot more specific. which should at different stages in the project enable different decision making. And a lot of the time, what we see at the moment is we're feeding in EPD data, so environmental product declaration information on our product at different times, and that has a different level of assumption on it. So for different stages in your LCA calculation, you might be taking different assumptions. May it be transport, may it be where the logs are coming from, factory distances, energy use, whatever it may be. And as that comes more specific, you reduce those assumptions, so decision-making becomes a lot more informed. But what is really key in that is being able to uniquely track via GUID, is what we're thinking at the moment, throughout that process as well. So that when it comes to us, right on the right-hand side, and it becomes a sort of more of a specific manufactured panel. So it goes from just being you're ordering a CLT wall to be a unique wall that we've made. So we've cut it out of something. It may not always be completely purely unique, but it should be considered unique into the building. And it's how do we then add the EPD data information as well as our manufacturing data and how that goes into the decision making as well. So having a place for that, where right now we see it as the sort of IFC being a key component there of adding in, having the space in there to add the data efficiently. So ensuring it's harmonized across any other supplier, any other person that's working with the data, adding the data as well. So we can get the efficient data, and you can use then efficient sort of the right word, like accurate manufacturing data in your decision making at that time. So if you're fulfilling any regulatory policy requirements, that's being made not on assumption, but based on real data coming from our manufacturing facility. And us using that, sort of feeding into the standard exchange format of the industry, sort of do that. So the activity and thinking and approach that we have is trying to expand the possibilities of the way we exchange data to add more around sustainability. And the current connections that we have, so obviously we have the sort of IDM MVD for cost scheduling, which was a construction room activity, which Veljko will probably give some information on as well after me. But we also see some regulatory work happening as well, maybe down to the EPD standard for products and the calculation standard for buildings. And then you've also got the Sustainable Construction Working Group working on things as well. And it's how we tie into that to give them a delivery mechanism into the industry. And how the sort of construction room can maybe create an activity which will allow that to happen efficiently. So you're not sending your sustainability or LCA information differently as you would to maybe your cost information if you're developing that up in an IFC. And if you're using your authoring tool or your sort of 3D model, as it may be as your single source of truth, the calculation of cost can come in the same way as the calculation of your footprint in that sense. So working that through in real summary in quite quick terms, we are creating this activity proposal and really trying to look at those open BIM workflows that we can use and expanding the IFC capabilities to enable the exchange of sort of harmonized calculations and data. And this is obviously I've focused on sustainability and partially here, but that data that we've got should also link into quantity information as well for the calculation of other things like cost and time as well. And the location data is going to be really key in that, especially if we're looking at operational side of embodied carbon and life cycle assessments. Really good example shown just before me on that as well, and how the sort of thermal ventilation spatial component would work there. So this is how we contribute to the delivery of a material passport and support that delivery with sort of an open BIM workflow that's coming from the use case management, that's sort of supported by calculation method and data harmonization from other standards around the world. Right now, obviously got Europe, but it could be further as well. And the purpose of this presentation for the summit is reaching out to the community to give your thoughts on the work. Reach out to sort of collaborate. If you've got an activity also going on, just giving examples could also be a really good one. And just inform us if there's work you're doing as well, which might overlap. I think that's really key that we deliver these things in a systemic way. So we sort of develop these things together in order to fit the sort of systems of the industry that we have. So yeah, that's all I had for today, and I'm hoping Veljko might give some context as well on that quantity side from his work, which could lead into some questions at the end. But thank you for the time and the opportunity to sort of show that work that we've got ongoing. And then, yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you, Rory. Can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, it's a matter of it's the platform. Yachi-san, if you and Adachi-san, Endo-san, do you guys want to come up and answer any questions? You can feel free to come up here now, and I will.
Yeah, so can I make some questions?
Yeah.
So I use microphone.
Yeah. See how well this works.
Hi, Rory. Are you okay?
Yeah, good.
Yeah,
Is that you, Ken? I couldn't see your head.
I'm here.
Yeah.
So, anyhow, my question to the Rory is: will the some material passport should be centralized system or some kind of the combination of the many systems, the remotely located, or what's your opinion, or how should we run or the take off this kind of the big national project is my question.
Okay, that's what a question to start with. Yeah, I don't know. It's quite an interesting. I guess there's loads of components and systems that are there we don't fully understand possibly yet, but I could see it definitely being having a central structure to it, but being managed on a sort of more national basis in terms of maybe the sort of finer details of what material passport needs to include, might need to reflect national requirements and different cultures and workflows as well. If that's an answer to the if I got the question right, Ken.
Yeah, okay.
Fritz from Moss GS1. The EU says that it has to be a decentralized system.
Yeah.
Response to that, Rory?
No, I mean, yeah, that's smarter people than me that developed that. And I think that's definitely fair, especially if you're looking maybe at the verification of information. A decentralized system could work really well. Yeah.
Thank you. Very good presentation from both. Just a question or a comment regarding the material passport, and to Rory. There is a standardization going on that's, I don't know the numbers, but it's called PDT, Product Data Template.
Mm-hmm.
So a way to store, for example, EPD data in a more structural and standardized manner. I didn't see it on your presentation, but I assume you're aware and that's probably part of the solution that you're thinking of here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, PDT has now been such a abbreviation which has come up over the last few years, especially if you're in the supply chain side. So I think, yeah, it's something I'm aware of and will definitely fit in to the work and to enable the sort of exchange of harmonized data. And especially if it comes down to the way PDTs are developed within different industries and products. It's going to help a lot in the exchange of EPD data, which will hopefully facilitate the standardized calculation methods as well being developed in other, especially EU work groups around the calculations around sustainability calculations for products and buildings. So yeah, PDT work is really a foundation for that.
That's good. Any other questions and comment on the both presentations? Yes, please.
One remark. This morning there was also a discussion on material product passports. So perhaps it would be good that we joined forces and see how things can work better together. But I'll contact with you, Rory, to make sure.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Who was that? Sorry, you able to say your name? Maybe it's at the moment I've just got a voice.
My name is Fritz Bos and I work for GS1.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Nice.
Okay, any other comments, question?
So one question. Still have time.
Okay.
Yeah, plenty of time.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So,
Please.
so to Adachi-san and Yachi-san, how do you spread the spatial zone use case to internationally? Or did you gather some the example in the foreign countries or worldwide?
Yeah,
What's the situation now?
good questions. Building Loom, we publish the technical report. Special zone project submitted the technical report to our Building Loom. So I think the technical report will be published. And this report includes the series of its use cases. So that is just a starting point, and we will prepare for putting our outcomes to use case management database services. And so I think UCM could be very good place to collect the new use cases for spatial zones. I think the Santander just use case is it's serious, I think. If we think about the construction site safety for workers, I think spatial zone might be very good example for if you move to kind of some big machineries or dangerous movement in the construction site. I think we can put the construction manager will put such kind of the software spaces for safety. So that could be the one of use case cluster we proposed in our technical reports. So we will spread such kind of the new ideas and much more various domains, use cases on top of the UCM services. That's our plan at this moment.
Yeah, but anyhow, the spatial zone initially you used for the defining the name of the room. For example, here's for the working space, office space, or some
I think.
But but you start to use the for some special purposes.
Yep.
So is there some kind of the misunderstanding internationally, or how do you overcome those?
Okay, so if I answer to your questions, well, in the report we described the why we use spatial zones, because we have IFC space, but IFC space is very physically and logically surrounded, like the walls and the floor. And this is very specific use for architectural design intent. And on the contrary, spatial zone is much more flexible and multi-purpose and very well cross-domain. So there are two types of special element is there since IFC4. That's why we proposed the new use cases requirements. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Thank
I
you.
will admit, and we had this discussion online in the forums, and I was a bit confused at first. And I think through David and others, I sort of got the clarity of it. And part of it is that IFC Zone was also trying to do a multitude of things, and IFC Space was trying to do multiple things. Like a parking spot is actually IFC Space, but its declaration is as parking. But when you think about it, that's totally inappropriate. It like doesn't really make sense logically. Instead, spatial zone actually works better because IFC zone does not have its own geometry.
Yep.
It's excluded from having its own geometry. Instead, you use zone to collect spaces that have their own geometry. So you say, oh, here is a thermal zone, and it might include several spaces. However, you could use spatial zone if you wanted to do early thermal analysis. Instead of using a space, you could say, this thermal zone is the top of the building. This thermal zone is the south of the building. This thermal zone is the north of the building. I mean, there's flexibility and potential there, right? And then because the way that it's done now is you say, okay, all of these spaces belong to a zone. That zone is a thermal zone. They have their own geometry. They have their own requirements and everything. But I can see in the design process where you're just like, I don't know yet. I don't know yet. So I can more generalize it. But the other ideas of, where is the product delivery zone, right? What does that look like? What are the dimensions? What is the access in order to make sure the equipment can be done? So I think in terms of process, it becomes very, very useful, especially in the construction process. The safety zone, right? It's a perfect example where, at least in the States, OSHA has, these requirements of, clearance things and all that. Well, it'd be great to show that in the model.
Yeah, and one thing, in the building room too, I heard other questions from the audience, and the one of the differences of IFC space and the spatial zone is kind of IFC space has a space boundary. And the space boundary is very fundamental information for energy calculation or something. But IFC spatial zone is not. It's much more flexible and it's a general purposes. So there are such kind of differences between IFC space and the spatial zone. Yeah, that's all. Yes.
Any other questions? You can wrap up early if you want. That's
At the time, Tokyo Summit, my final words. Let's take a picture together.
Oh, yeah.
Creating the material passport and much more increasing the special zone. Let's go. I take picture. You just. Huh?
Wrap up this.
Wrap up the session first.
wrap up session.
After that, we can take it.
あ、そう。これじゃやっちゃダメなの。
オーディエンス
あ、そうか。
がちょっと待ってたもんね。
あ、そうか。じゃあやめましょう。ストップ。終わった後。はい。
All right. Well, with that, I think we're going to wrap this one up early. I would like to thank you, Rory, for joining us. Thank you for everyone who's joined us online. If you do have any other further questions, and I keep saying this is what the Building Smart forums are for, forums.buildingsmart.org. It's a great place to have that communication asynchronously. Everything gets collected in one place. You can go back through threads and see where things happened. If there are questions that require answers, that require solutions, we even mark when there's a solution. So it's a great resource to, get into the conversations on any number of topics. So thank you, Ken. Glad to hear Yajiro-san is doing well. That's great. Thank you, Adachi-san. Thank you, Yachi-san. And we'll talk to you all later.